Finding a narrative in the random chaos of everyday life, especially my individual life, that's my favorite thing to do. It's a really absorbing puzzle. Does any of this mean anything? And I want it to mean something, so I create the meaning.
I'm an English major, and I've always loved graphic narratives. I love blankets. I love mouse. I love fun home.
I'm a very word-heavy cartoonist, more of a writer who draws. I obsess over every word, every syllable of my writing.
Comics capture the movie-like visual aspect where you can just sit down and watch the story happen, but then there's also this secret difficulty because it's still a reading experience where your own imagination has to fill in a lot of gaps. There's this tension between what the text is telling you and what the image is telling you, and you have to read between those lines.
There's so much that's analogous to film and comics, and that was one of the things that excited me as a young cartoonist, learning this different way of putting stories together where you can have these two tracks kind of rubbing against each other. It's the fusion of the two that is the magical part.
So when I saw that Professor Bechdel was coming, I was like, fun home. I love fun home. I need to take a class with this person before they leave. And I was really honest. I was like, I want to take this class because I love comics and I have no idea how to make them.
Well, I'm new to teaching and I never studied writing. So I taught myself, and now I have this interesting problem. How do I teach the stuff I learned on my own to people who are ready and willing to learn it? The way that they make those books is by, but also it's just fun to start thinking about what makes comics comics. What does it mean to write in this visual way? How do you begin a story? How do you develop a visual character? What does it mean to draw a scene? You guys, look at Kaya's front. She's got the front and back covers. We looked at different forms of comics.
And these were not Superman comics. These were comics that came from different historical periods and were really relevant to shaping comic literature. And we usually also had some critical scholarship.
I want to be both reading stuff with them and talking about some theory of comics, but I want them to be making things. So it went from being more cerebral to more hands-on. Today, our prompt is,
being a practicing creative professional, she's able to understand the work of routine. I really loved how much daily practice was emphasized. I was just practicing every day. Sometimes it was very bad, sometimes it was better, but it was always on this progression like this, up. I couldn't draw a stick figure, and by the end, I actually found I was a much stronger drawer than I had come in.
I like the quality it gives to the lettering. It's kind of funky in a really nice way. Kaya really found her voice as a cartoonist in this class. This really great style that worked for her and the kind of story she wanted to tell.
Coming to comics, the first thing that surprised me is we did everything by hand. So if I wanted to write a word, I had to physically write that word, and it just takes a really long time. So I had to be so much more careful with what I was actually saying.
You might have written this on your computer, but now you're drawing the words out on the page, and that forces another layer of editing. Once you're doing that, maybe you can get rid of a few extra adjectives because you don't have time to draw them. It does involve a lot of very harsh editing. You've just got to pare stuff down.
It was almost like poetry because I had to be very sparing and I had to put real intention behind every word. But in a way it was also not like poetry because there was still this expectation of a lot of clarity.
The whole thing about a picture is worth 1,000 words. Sometimes words are really the best way to explain something.
I also thought about how can you be attentive to language but still not constrain it to the point where it feels really unoriginal and kind of dry. The visual frees you up to use language in ways that are not just purely descriptive, but in ways that are really evocative and thinking about the subtext behind what's happening.
Kaya wrote a really funny comic. It's about Asian American representation in the culture, and she uses as a metaphor this young Asian woman who has gone missing.
It's about a mean girl who is Asian American and attends this predominantly white suburb, and in this suburb, all of the other Asian American kids start physically vanishing.
It's very funny, very dark. I was surprised given what a pleasant, sunny presence she was in the class.
Her fingers slipped into mine and turned white, and I realized I couldn't tell what was material, if she was turning me to flesh or if I was turning her to nothing.
And she told a gripping story that made me want to keep going. I mean, that's no small thing.
My relationship to language totally evolved because of this class. Professor Bechdel made room for people like me who are coming in with no visual language to slowly break us in through exercises to using text and visual together. And I think I've also really just brought that back into every area where I write. I understood how much this was a Yale thing to be able to take a literal seminar, not a lecture, where you can go to office hours and where you get individual feedback every class from someone like Professor Bechdel, and also have that person just be a good teacher.
I do feel like there's something special going on here, that the students are not just very smart, but very engaged.
Just being in this environment so saturated with amazing thinkers in the arts who are eager to work with students, it almost feels normal, but it's not. Because when you step out of here, you realize just how unusual it is to have this much artistic energy coming from the faculty of a place, and having all of that really directed towards students very intentionally, with like the interest in helping every student make their art better. And I truly think that this is something super unique to Yale, and it comes out of this culture that takes art seriously. That's not just the students, it runs all the way up to the faculty level, and the faculty bring it to the students by being very serious artists themselves. This is the advantage of this humanities curriculum, where you get this individualized attention and you have the opportunity to really develop your writing skills, aka your voice skills. So definitely take a writing class.
I'm Alison Bechdel, and I am a professor in the practice of comics.
My name is Kaya Dierks, and I was a student in making comics. It was honestly the best class I've taken at Yale, like hands down.
I was just always kind of going by the seat of my pants, honestly. Don't put that in the film.